little introduction to macros. So most people think whenever they're dieting that it's just about a calorie deficit, which that does help, but there's a lot more that goes into it. So with macro counting, what you're doing is you're setting a percentage, or we will set a percentage from your fats, your carbs, and your proteins based on your height, weight, age, gender, and then how much exercise that you normally get in. So based on that, we'll set target percentages. You'll use the MyFitnessPal app. At the end of the day, you will take a screenshot of your macros, your fats, proteins, and carbs, and you'll upload it into the Facebook accountability group, where we'll give you tips, give you advice on how to better reach your percentages, because what the science says is that if you could be within these percentage ranges by the end of the day, that you're a lot more likely to lose weight, and you'll be a lot more likely to gain muscle in the process as well. So it's a lot more than just counting carbs. It's a lot more than just making sure our calories are below where they're supposed to be. It's more specific as to the foods that you're putting in your body, and it makes you a little more intentional on doing that. In order to count macros, you'll need a scale. And it really doesn't matter what kind of scale you get. This is the one that I recommend, that I use. And we'll go over more specifics of how to run that scale later. But basically, if a food doesn't have a barcode on it, you'll be using this scale to weigh it. So if you're cooking a meal, something along those lines, you'll want to make sure that you're weighing your food along the way. MyFitnessPal helps with creating recipes. So you can actually go in, create the recipes, and create your servings based off of that. And we'll get into that later. But the scale is incredibly important, because you're not always going to be eating foods that have a label or have a barcode on it. And the last thing you'll want to purchase is just a weight scale. People always ask, well, do I have to get this one? Do I have to get one that ties to an app? And the answer is no, you don't have to. Personally, I like it because it shows a little more data, and it also allows you to have more celebrations and set more goals, because as you'll see here in the picture from the example from myself, you can actually get into your body fat percentage. You can get into a lot more information, and you can have a lot more celebrations along the ways. But again, definitely not required. So now the question, what are we going to be doing? The first thing we'll do is you're going to give me your height, your weight, your age, exercise, gender, like we discussed earlier. I'm going to set your targets. I'm going to have you take some pictures. Don't worry, you're going to keep those to yourself, because you're going to want to see that progress yourself. You may be embarrassed right now, but you're not looking at right now, you're looking at the future. I'm going to have you take some measurements. This is an example from that scale that I've used. It has me take those measurements, and the reason for those measurements is, again, those are little celebrations we can have along the way when those numbers go down. Because like for myself, a lot of times when I go through this process, I don't lose a lot of pounds, but the inches fall away. And so for me, the number is not that important, because I know I'm gaining muscle mass as well. And so my poundage may not be going down as quickly as I want them to, but when my pant sizes are getting smaller and my clothes are fitting better, that's the real goal. And don't worry, you won't be doing this alone. I'm going to help you along the way, all the way down to how to weigh foods, how to input foods, what foods can help get you higher fats, get you higher carbs, which you could probably figure that one out on your own, higher proteins, all of those tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. I'm definitely going to be sharing that, and we'll make sure that we're successful and that we're able to meet our targets together. It's an accountability group, but it's one that we can do it together, and we're a lot more likely to be successful if we're doing it together. Looking forward to continuing the journey with you.